BoomFit Bros here with Charlie Lima and myself, Gus Warden, and of course C4. I hear they're sponsored. They're thinking
they don't miss a show.
They don't. But they have missed getting their check to us.
You know what? I like to think they're about 21 episodes behind.
I think so too.
But that was a monumental episode.
Which
20?
One? Oh yeah.
I think 20 episodes. I mean, you guys got to think we're still here. We're still going hard. We're going strong.
Still completely desperate for your attention.
Haven't missed a week.
Kidding. Kind of.
Hopefully, in 20 episodes, we've added value to your health and fitness.
And maybe just a little bit of laughs along the way, I hope. Maybe.
I've gotten some laughs along the way.
I've gotten a few. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so it is kind of impressive when you think, what's the average for podcasts? Isn't it like 7 episodes or something? Single digits.
Yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, we
are above average.
We've gone on a streak. I mean, 20's not 100, but
we're above average.
Yeah.
I am thrilled with that.
Our goal is for you to tune in weekly and either always laugh or get some information or both.
And let me be clear, I don't plan on staying at average, but I am thrilled to be above the average line.
Yes.
And I continue to want to keep moving up in the rankings. That being said, welcome.
And subscribe.
If
it's your first time.
There's a little button up there in the corner. You should do it.
Yes. And share. I mean, share the channel with somebody. Share the episode with somebody.
So we could have more subscribers and continue to move higher than average.
That's right.
That's it. And then C4 will sponsor us. They have terms and conditions, I guess I understand.
Minimums.
We haven't reached the minimum standard yet. Okay, so recap. Last time was about, what was last time about? It was about, I just wrote this down. Why do I forget these things?
Do you even need a gym membership?
That's it.
And that was the big question.
And I'm going to let that kind of hang and marinate in your head a little bit because I want you to go back and watch it because the answer isn't what you think.
Right.
We threw a curveball at you on that one. So go back and watch it. Episode 20. Do you even need a gym?
Yep.
Okay. Enough with that. Moving on to today's episode number 21. And today, I thought I'd get a little practical today. So we've talked before about tracking. We've talked about how we think you should do it. We've talked about how there are other methods. But specifically today, we're going to talk about more tracking. More specifically, how to actually get started doing it. The way that I personally have found to be successful. And Charlie's going to give his ways that he's personally found to be successful. Yeah. So let me go through my notes real quick because I do have some points that I wanted to clarify before we get started.
And just to kind of give a preview, anybody who's interested in losing weight and figuring out how to go about that,
contact us.
Contact us, but today's episode is specifically for you.
Yes.
And so you definitely want to keep tuned in and watch this entire episode because it is going to give you a really
in-depth
version of how to lose weight effectively.
Yeah. Okay. And so let's talk about possible ways that you can do to lose weight. Way number 1. You can't. I don't advocate it, but you can do it. Weight loss surgery. I wouldn't advocate that. Let me underscore that multiple times because I've seen that go wrong in so many different ways, shapes and sizes, and I don't mean the shape and size that you're going for. So, option B, liposuction. It's a thing. You could do it. Again, I wouldn't recommend it, unless you want to go under the knife and have a garden hose stuck in you. Suck out all the fat.
Another option.
Option 3, you could do it the way that we advocate here today. I'd recommend that one because it works best and it also gives you a skill that helps you keep it off for really as long as you want. Ideally, the rest of your life if you choose. And the reason why that's great is those other two are not long-term fixes, despite what you may think. And for starters, let me clarify this on a little bit. I don't want to be involved in any of the lawsuits or anything like that, so I'm going to stick to my guns. But I will say I have seen, in fact, I can't really think of one person I know, and I've seen a lot, who have done some form of cosmetic or weight loss surgery to the point to where they've gained all of it back and then some. Every single one. I don't know about you, but That's just my experience.
I think usually you have to face the ugly truth no matter which method you use, which is this is going to take effort on your part, and it's going to require changing habits, working on, what you're putting in your mouth, how frequently you're putting it in there. And if you do go option 1 or 2, you're going to still end up having to face option 3.
So you may as well just get started.
Well, I mean, yeah. So, there's
stick with that one.
Yeah, and I think the most average individual is probably thinking option 1 and 2 are like a last resort. If we look at kind of the demographic of most people who are wanting to lose weight, but it is, everyone can say that they've conveniently thought that to be an option in this fact of saying, I could always get this.
I could always do weight loss.
I could always do. Wouldn't it be nice to have liposuction, or wouldn't it be nice to have weight loss surgery that, so everybody probably has thrown that kind of language around. But really, number 3 is just the way to do it.
And here's why. Number 3 gives you the skill that you can take with you for the rest of your life, whereas the other 2 are a cosmetic fix that might last a year, and then you're back to square one and maybe even worse off because you haven't learned the skill that allows you to sustain the look you want to have.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're going to go in on that last option, and we're going to go in depth on this. So what I highly recommend.
So option 3 is effective weight loss.
Effective weight loss.
Yeah.
And this is just one effective weight loss strategy. There are many. The first 2 options are not.
Right.
I don't think. So this is all about tracking, okay? And the reason why this one is so good, and we've talked about it in other episodes, is because the moment you take a few days to accurately log and track and essentially break down what it is you really do eat, I haven't had a single person come up to me and be like, man, that was eye-opening. Every single person that's done it for the first time, I always get that response. And you would think, like, okay, well, yeah, every day I know what I eat. Come on. Like, I don't have to track it. Try it. I think you will be
And that's
shocked.
me included. Like,
Oh, yeah,
anytime I take time off.
That's us included.
From tracking, and then I start tracking, I'm like, man.
Yeah, that's us included. We're like, oh,
yeah,
my God. What about it? So
very eye-opening.
It's very eye-opening. Like, you think, oh, yeah, I know what I eat, obviously. Come on. Like, just try it, okay? In fact, try it for a week. Track every single thing that you eat. That's solid food, that's liquid food, that's shakes, that's snacks, that's little tastes that you have while you're cooking, that's alcohol, that's Cokes, everything except for water.
Yeah.
Unflavored, plain, good old H2O.
In 7 days of tracking, it really exposes everyone. You cannot hide in a 7-day food journal, and it doesn't.
Providing you do it correctly.
That's anybody. I think that you could easily say that if you tracked like Monday through Friday or 3 days, that it's not going to give the full picture of what you're doing. But when you do a 7-day track,
7 days
of what you eat, and you can use like a MyFitnessPal to do this. I'd recommend some kind of app or something that makes it very easy for you to plug in. And you look at exactly how many calories you're having. You look at how many times you're eating a day. You look at the times of day that you're eating. It just exposes a lot of truth. So 7 days is a really good case study.
And it also, after you track for 7 days, you can then average out what your daily calorie consumption is. Obviously, it's going to change from day to day. But if you take a week and you get a little snapshot of like what you do on a weekly basis, because here's the thing, like Monday through Thursday are usually much lower than Friday through Sunday, the weekend, or whatever your weekend is. And you'll know that when you track. Some people are just like, oh, no, I'm consistent all the way through. I doubt it. Track. Try it. Take the average of the 7 days, and you get your daily calorie average. And what that is it shows you, how many you eat on average. And that's good because that's your maintenance calories. In other words, that's how many calories per day you need to eat in order to maintain the exact same weight that you currently are.
And I know MyFitnessPal will actually do that for you. It can average out the last 7 days or the last 3 days. So if you're just in the habit, maybe you're already in the habit of food journaling, some people are, just check out your average. And this was actually a really good way to calculate what your maintenance weight is, because I never thought to do this. I thought this was really good, is just to look at what you're already doing, because chances are you're not going incredibly high or incredibly low on the scale. You're probably just leveling out. And so leveling out just means that, hey, this is about how many calories you're eating on a 7-day period, right? So averaging out, let's just simple math for the sake of the show. Let's just say you're eating over the last 7 days 14,000 calories total. So you would divide that by 7. Now that very rarely happens to be this perfect number of 2,000 calories per day.
Right.
But that would mean that you eating 2,000 calories per day is a maintenance intake.
Yes.
You're not going to gain or you're not going to lose. It's just right about where you're at currently. So the brilliance of this is that you're doing it today, right? You're not taking like this moment in time when you were so perfect with your diet and calculating the average of those 7 days. You're also not taking this like vacation that you went on and those 7 days were awful. And then, no, the brilliance of this is it's today. Start today, calculate 7 days worth, or go back in your journal that you've been already recording if that's you, and check out your 7 days, average it out, and that's your maintenance calories.
Yep. And so there, to be clear, there are fancy equations you can use to calculate what your maintenance calories would be. Those are going to be less accurate than this method.
And there's machines that will do it too.
And you think like, oh, those equations are made by scientists in white lab coats with fancy equipment. Yes. However, everyone's different. I mean, you could probably already like figure out like, oh man, this person can have 5 Big Macs in a week and he doesn't gain an ounce and he has like 0% body fat. And here I am, I can look at a bagel and gain weight. Everybody's different.
And on that note, I think it's always important to understand that when you read something in a magazine, in a book, watch a video, you don't know if that's you. Like, you don't know if that's your body. Like, you need to understand that you are managing your body and no one else has your body. Therefore, embrace that and really focus on the remainder of the days that you have on this earth, understanding how your body works, right? So the worst thing we can do is read something and then call it like an absolute and think it applies to me or us, right?
A great example of that is the internet.
Yeah, well, just
anyone can post anything on the internet, and just because you see it on the internet doesn't mean it's true. I think that's a quote from Abraham Lincoln.
And I think that you're going to have, Let's see
if you catch that there.
If you start asking around to people who you think they've really kind of got their diet and this whole working out thing under control, meaning they really do a good job of maintaining their weight, eating healthy, and you ask them, I think that you're going to have a kind of a understanding that they know how to do them. They know how to eat for them. They know what works for them. So a few episodes back, we talked about intermittent fasting. You know, to read an article or to watch a video or to read a book that is all about intermittent fasting and think that, man, this is going to work for me is false, because it may not work for you. And if you talk to someone that it works well for them, it may not work for you.
Right.
And so you have to understand that what we're talking about right now is figuring out what works for you. And yes, there's scientific formulas that can tell you how many calories you need per day, but why don't you calculate the average of what you're already doing and create a baseline?
Right.
And that's what we're trying to get to.
Exactly what, so, and the difference being there is like, what he said is if you track for 7 days and you get your average, that is your maintenance. And there ain't much getting around that. If you take an equation, so those equations only work for 60% of the population. 60%. So it might work for you.
And if you never food journal and you start food journaling, I think you're going to pretty much be shocked at what you're doing. So try not to, and I know this would be hard, but try not to eat different.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Once you start journal, I mean, and inevitably it will happen. You're going to eat differently. But just do the best to eat as close to normal as you can.
Yeah.
And go as just by the nature of you writing it down, you're going to be disgusted with yourself and be like, "My God, what am I doing?" Like,
actually, if you want an assignment, if you kind of are one of those people that like schoolwork and projects, what might be the most
no one.
What might be
everybody just left.
This current assignment is probably going to take you about
7 days,
2 hours total time.
Okay. I was wondering,
but you will put in a journal just written down, like not even in your phone, right? Written down or in your notes every day what you eat, and then go back in after the fact and start plugging it in to calculate the calories. Because what may happen is day 3 or 4, you might realize, man, every time I go to the pantry and I get those cashews, or if I get that peanut
not like
butter,
he's speaking from personal experience or anything,
or whatever it is eye-opening what kind of damage I'm doing.
Or if you're like me and like that thing of expired maple syrup was sitting in the refrigerator for months, and there I go. I'm like, I don't have anything in my house, and I'm hungry.
You will see your vices, right?
No.
You will see your weaknesses.
And that's just I don't do that regularly. It's just I'm human too, guys. But I do know how to control it.
Yeah.
Well, not in that situation, obviously, but I know in the grand scheme of things, I'm lean, I'm healthy, I'm in shape, and I know how to do it. And I know how to tell other people to do it, like you. So you should listen to me, and don't drink maple syrup that's been sitting in your refrigerator for months. Okay, so once we have figured out and done Charlie's homework assignment,
that 1% of our viewers will do, if that.
You will be the successful 1% if you choose to do it. So track everything for a week. Write it down, go back, plug in all the calories, or just track it through MyFitnessPal. Get the average for 7 days. That's your maintenance calories. Once you do that, then we're going to talk about our deficit number. Fancy term for how do we figure out how many calories we eat so that I can lose weight. Okay? You take your maintenance number, whatever that is, and you multiply that by 10 to 12%. Start with 10. I know you want to do 12 because most people want to lose weight faster. Just start with 10. Okay? Multiply 10% times, we'll say 2,000. So that's going to be 200 calories. And you subtract that 200 calories from your 2,000. So that leaves you with 1,800. And that is going to be your calorie deficit number.
And you know what, guys? I'm going to pretend to be the viewer right now because I think that you're probably thinking this question. And I know Gus has a brilliant answer for you.
Maybe.
So I'm going to raise my hand. Will you call on me?
Charlie.
Why don't I subtract 500 calories a day so I can lose 3,500 calories a week and lose a pound a week?
Okay. Have you tried this before?
No.
Okay. So, and your maintenance is 2,000?
Yes.
So you could do 1,500, which is the maintenance amount for about a 135-pound female. Okay. So there's issue number one. How much do you weigh?
200 pounds.
200-pound male. Not a 135-pound female. So there's issue number one. And again, this is just for Charlie. Issue number two is if you've never done this before and you get too big of a deficit in there, you're going to be hungry at the end of the day.
I think that's where I wanted you to answer is that sometimes you guys or people think go extreme, right? More is better. And I love how you referenced in it like this is the long game or this is the slow and steady over a long period of time approach to weight loss because it's not going to happen quickly. And you said in there you don't want to lose 7 pounds or 14 pounds in 7 days. And I think sometimes we all want that quick fix. So common sense would say, well, why don't I knock 800 calories a day off? Why don't I knock 1,000 calories a day off? And I think that's probably the more common mistake that people make. And so here is 10%, 200 calories less.
There's another reason for this too. It leaves you room to go.
Mm-hmm.
So if you plateau, you can kick it down a bit again and still be above the maintenance level of a 135-pound female.
Remember that quick fixes do not last. Like this is going to take a period of time and a longer period of time than you want to commit to. Let's be honest.
Now, there are some programs like, shameless plug, our 6-week challenge that is meant for quick results.
And it's still 42 days, but
I was about to say,
yeah,
it ain't 7 days.
Right.
Okay. So, and then also you have someone who is closely watching you and guiding you and monitoring you. It's not just like you're doing this on your own and like, you don't know where to start. So there's two things there, but also really what that program is for people who are stuck, who need a quick burst of motivation and results so that they can transition into something like this. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like, I don't like the idea of a challenge and then stop and then gain it all back and then a challenge and stop. I like the idea of a challenge and then go on a sustainable program for a long time. And that's the key word, is sustainable, which is, again, why we don't do a 500 calorie deficit. Is like, we're in the long game. And if you're hungry, you're already going to be hungry because you're in a deficit. That's just the nature of it.
Yeah.
Like, you're used to getting 2,000 calories a day on average, and now you're getting 1,800 a day on average. Your body's going to give you some hunger signals. You don't want to have such big hunger signals that, like, you're gnawing off an appendage. Even the people on the 6-week challenge, if they say, like, man, I am starving, I have their food every time. So I'm not aiming here to try and make you super hungry. Like, decrease by 200 if you're a 2,000 calorie person. 10%.
And it's amazing what that does over time. It's like,
yeah,
it really works.
And then the last step about all of this is, okay, you've taken 7 days to just eat normally and track, which is right there. We've just lost most of our audience because it's not a quick fix. But those people who stayed, congratulations, you're getting results. Okay, so do that first. Get your maintenance number, your average. And then next, you're going to knock off 10% of that average. That is your calorie deficit that you're going to eat each day. Last step, and this is an important one, start.
Yes.
Actually do something about, like, everybody at New Year's maps out their entire year about how they're going to get more money, lose fat, stop smoking, and then, like, save the world. No one does it. Everybody can write it down. The people that actually take action on it past March are the ones that win, and that's like less than 6% of the population.
Yeah, you just have to get started, and I know that sometimes it's hard because you're going to be faced with a ton of challenges right away. Like let's just say the third day you're tracking, you forget or you didn't do it, and then you're discouraged, and then day 4 comes around and you're like, well, should I just start over in a week? And you have so many different obstacles, and so you just have to start. And I think that's one of the things with the 6-week challenge that works so great is that you have to start.
Pretty much,
you're paying for it, and you have a coach, and they're committed to helping you.
Pretty much strong-arming you to start. Yeah. So, and another challenge is you're going to have people look at you like you have a third eye, especially when you start tracking the food and the alcohol and all the other stuff. Like, notice I just said calorie deficit. I didn't say anything about protein, carbs, and fats. If you just do the calorie deficit, you will lose weight, I promise. So that's like the minimum here. So
yeah,
that whole nother topic for the other stuff.
Yeah, we can, and again, there's some other episodes that go into that, but I think for the sake of this episode, it's really simple.
Yes, just start.
Just
do what
track,
we said and start.
Start tracking, then calculate 10 to 12%.
And start.
Reduce your total average daily intake by 10% calories, and then move forward.
Yep.
And then if you're looking at like where to reduce, so like taking the 2,000 calorie example, and I need to get to 1,800 somehow, which isn't a ton different, but let's give an example. Well, I could look through my journal and look for a 200 calorie item that I do regularly and just delete. Just stop taking it in. That could be right now. I'll tell you.
Those cashews that you do every day.
Cashews. If you do a tablespoon of natural peanut butter.
2 tablespoons.
Same thing. Heavy whipping cream and coffee.
Same thing.
You could look at
or the syrup that they add.
Or the syrup that you drink.
Or that. Although that was probably more like 1,000 calories.
If you just look through your previous 7 days journal, whatever it is that you need to eliminate is a glaring, obvious thing, and
big
you
hint.
can just cut it out.
Normally snacks.
Yeah,
that's a big one. So just start, guys. And again, your friends are going to look at you weird. That's because they're not doing it and you are. I mean, if you want to be successful, you're going to be weird. Period. I don't know how many times I've said that. Like, you will be viewed as weird if you're successful. Unfortunately, because everybody else is struggling to keep up with you, and they don't want you to be better than them. Subconsciously, I think that's true.
Well, I think where that comes into play is the majority of people, and you've talked about this before, like, want to do what's easy.
Yes.
Like, most people want to do what's easy. And so when you start doing something that's really hard, that the normal group of people that you surround yourself with do not do, it naturally becomes, in their minds, kind of crazy and silly that you're doing it, right? So it's
unsolicited advice from the peanut gallery all day long.
So if and again, this could have something to do with the group of people that you surround yourself with, which is kind of what we talked about last week about the values of being a part of a community or a gym. Because when you start doing this in an environment of people who are already kind of doing it, it doesn't seem so weird. It doesn't seem so crazy. You know, you could even say the same about like getting up really early.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when you hang out with people that get up really early, it's not so crazy. But when you hang out with people that sleep past 8:30 in the morning and you start waking up at 4 or 4:30 in the morning, they're going to say, you're crazy. Why are you doing that?
I would never do that.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
And hey, their opinion is their opinion. It
Right.
doesn't necessarily mean they're bad people, but I'll tell you right now, that's where you got to be so set on why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you food tracking? Or why are you waking up early? Why are you committed to doing the hard stuff? And if you don't know why you're doing, then that's a whole nother episode that we need to talk about, which is having purpose for losing weight. And a strong purpose will push you through the hard days.
Yep.
Always.
Yep.
So
absolutely. Maybe we'll touch on that next episode.
yeah.
So, all right, guys. So, final thing, if you are struggling, if you do need help, contact us. We have plenty of programs and tips and tricks, experience out the wazoo.
Yes.
That will help you and have helped many, many others to lose weight and keep it off permanently. Okay? Contact us. You can do Gus at
Gus at BoomFit BCS.
I'm mixing mine and his email. Gus at BoomFitBCS.com or Charlie at MyBoomFit.com. Yes, they're different. Yes,
or Charlie at BoomFitBCS.com.
I'm trying to get him to switch. It's just a struggle. This is also one of those peer pressure, Anyway,
I'll check
us.
both emails. Send me one to both.
Reach out to us if you need help. We have plenty of programs for you. We do have limited spots, so make sure you jump on it. Okay? But until next time, see you later, guys.
All right, guys, do the work. See ya.
Do it.